Good evening, ladies. Welcome to February's Pursuit. And my name is Dawn Appleman, and I'm your Pursuit Coordinator. And I am here with the lovely Anissa Allaire, and she's going to be our guest
Hello.
speaker tonight. And I'm super excited. She's going to be sharing her testimony and talking about family restoration. But before we get started, I wanted to share a few announcements of things coming up at the Single Mom KC. The first is the Healing from Our Heart Wounds workshop. And so this is a really powerful workshop. It'll be 6 sessions. It will be online through Zoom because of COVID. It starts February 20th, and each session, I believe, is going to be 2 hours. And really, the whole workshop is designed to bring healing, from your, in terms of your emotions and your spirit. If you've ever been through anything difficult like divorce, chronic illness, maybe you've dealt with trauma, or you have some financial issues, this absolutely will help you to process and come out in terms of healing. And I really hope that if you are feeling overwhelmed, to join this workshop. You can register for it on our website, thesinglemomkc.org, and I encourage you. And really, honestly, moms, I know that it is hard sometimes to make time for ourselves. And trust me, as a single mom, just even going to a Bible study was a lot of work. You know what? I always was so glad I did. And I really, really encourage you to make time for yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed, please join us in this workshop. You will gain so much, and it will give so much back to you in your spirit. So please join us if that's something that you may be interested. We also have our clothes with Dignity Boutique, and I am hearing rumors we're getting lots of new stuff that hasn't even been worn, and it's gorgeous, ladies. So if you have not went in and signed up for an appointment, I encourage you. We have some really beautiful clothes that'll come in. And so go out there and really take some time for yourself and get some new beautiful clothes for yourself. We also have our Tuesday talks where we talk a lot about the topic in more in depth throughout the month. And then we also have our Mocha Moments. It's just a small little devotional in the morning. Those are Monday and Fridays. So if you get a chance, join us for one of those. All right, ladies, well, we're going to get started, and I'm just so glad to be here with you and me. So this is something I know just from knowing you, that God has been working in your life, and we've watched you grow into just such an amazing woman. And, you're just so strong in your faith and just very confident. And I'm just so glad that you get to share your story with the single moms tonight. So we're going to talk about family restoration. So let's start. What is the definition of family restoration to you, Anissa?
What is the definition of family restoration? I have spent a lot of time thinking about that. And in finding that definition, I wanted to share, like, if you look it up in the dictionary, what it says. And it says to give back something that was lost or taken, to rebuild, to fix, and to mend. And I love all those definitions, to give back something that was lost or taken. But the word that stands out to me the most is to rebuild. Rebuild first means something is broken. And to me, family restoration is God rebuilding the family, restoring the family. Not only mom, but the children as well. And what we're going to talk about, taking our children on the journey, why that's family restoration, is because it's a journey. It's a brick by brick and step by step of him coming in and restoring and rebuilding. It is not, you're not going to see the seeds overnight, but those he is doing a good work when we take our kids on the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I even think back to my own journey, and I've been very open and in terms of my own healing with my children, and I've been at these for a long time, over 20 years, and it is definitely piece by piece. But again, boy, it is really so powerful. The things that family restoration can bring to both the children's life and the single moms, right? So, and it's the core of what we're about at the Single Mom PC, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Tell us a little bit about how this journey started for you, Anissa.
So, well, let's start at where things were before I started on this journey. I will definitely say was in survival mode, and certainly was not thriving. I was parenting from a very broken place. I was just so bound in insecurity and fear. Yeah, bound, not free. And there was love in our home, but not a lot of peace.
So as you went through this process, what are some of the tools that you used to take you through your journey and to bring you to where you are today?
So as I was thinking about this talk tonight, I'm so passionate about it. The Lord really reminded, so let me back up. I would say the first step is to fully surrender all.
Mm.
Recognize that you trying to control it, you trying to do this parenting thing on your own has not worked. And just invite God in to every room, those dark and ugly places, just surrender all. And that is just simply your hands open, like surrendering. I can't do this. I need you. And once you are in that posture of surrender and have just said, I can't do this, I need you. And this really started taking root when my son and I became part of the Single Mom KC. And that is to invite God in. Invite God into your home. I'm sure you have heard, Dawn, in your walk, someone saying, you have a really hard job. You have to be, it must be so hard for you because you have to be the mother and the father. And that is not, it's not true. It's us taking on more. It's us filling in a role that was never ours to fill in. And so when we invite God in, we are saying, you are head of this house. I'm going to take my rightful place as mom and just invite you in, have your way. And I have a couple of thoughts with this, but a powerful moment where this, to me, this was a defining moment where we really invited God in, was actually at our very first event as a family, my son and I. It was a Christmas event. And ironically, Dawn, I talked about what our world was before, not very peace-filled. And this was called Peace-Filled Holiday. And basically there was a musician playing a song, and it said, "I love you, I like you, I'm so proud of you." And it began with us moms hearing those words being washed over us, and then our children joining us. And then we were invited to pray over our children those words, because when they know that God loves them and likes them and is so proud of them, they can do anything. And I prayed over my son Creighton, and then he prayed over me. And okay, I'm starting to get emotional, I'm sorry. I know that was when those seeds of his love began to be rooted and planted in us. And I said this was a journey, but that was a just defining moment. Something, it was small, but it was so big. And when we invite God in, just to me, it just became like a second language again from tools that I learned from the single mom Casey. But going to God and asking him, like, what does your Father say about that? And the part about taking our kids on the journey is I was learning that language. And then when Creighton came to me, I was like, oh, what is your father? Have you talked to your father about it? What does your daddy say? And inviting God in, and those simple things just becoming like a daily, it just becomes natural. They are developing a relationship with God, and they are learning his voice for themselves.
Wow. That's good. Well, and I think about my own journey to Denise. I mean, I think over the years, I mean, my children are grown and off in college, and I'll tell you, there are a lot of things, but of course, I went through years of therapy, but it was God, truly God, who got me through it. And as I reflect back, he is the person, the support that got me and my children through those difficult times, and having that relationship with him. And I found that once I turned and surrendered, like you talked about, things really changed for me in my life, just significantly. And so, yeah, I can really relate with those things for sure.
Amen.
So were there other tools that you utilized, or were those the main ones?
Yes, so I would kind of group those together. Both are very important, but as I look back, those were at the foundation, I would say, surrendering all and inviting him in. Another powerful tool is sharing your emotions with your children. I often feel like we as moms want to appear like Wonder Woman and strong all the time and have it all together. But when we present that to our children, it doesn't create a place for them to be vulnerable and real. And so when we're vulnerable and real, it creates this safe place for them to be vulnerable and real. As well as you are able to say, I didn't want to get out of bed today, but God is my strength, and he can be your strength too. And you can go to him and he can handle whatever you're feeling. And so that is powerful with our emotions, but it also, not only does it teach them that they can be vulnerable, but honesty. When we're honest of where we are, um, it allows them to be honest as well. And because of my childhood, this has always been something that I've instilled in Creighton. I stuffed a lot of things. I stuffed a lot of things down, and that led to self-destruction later on, because you can only, yeah, it's not healthy.
Yeah.
And so for as long as I can remember, I've always told Creighton, we get it out of the dark. We shine the light on it. We don't stuff it down. When we bring it to the light, when it comes out of the darkness into the light, we're surrendering that to God, and it can't destroy us.
I love that analogy. That's great. That's so true. That's so true. You know, I definitely agree. I mean, I know I used to stuff my feelings too, but I never really thought about it. That when you talk about it, you're bringing light to it. It's really beautiful. I love that analogy. So, yeah, good.
Yeah, awesome. And then I guess just one more thing I would say about sharing our emotions is um, we set the tone for the home, and just a, a powerful is asking for forgiveness when you're wrong. Ask for forgiveness from your children, admitting that you're wrong and asking for forgiveness. Again, it creates that space for when they know they've done wrong to come and ask for forgiveness, as well as not to go to this place of beating themselves up, or, you know, no condemnation. It's, you're forgiven. So those were definitely some powerful tools.
Yeah, and I tell you, I always told my children, I am not a perfect mother. I still tell them I'm not a perfect mother. You know,
Yeah.
I'll never be perfect, and you know what? I can't do everything right, and it does open a door for forgiveness, and it goes both ways. I mean, we are that role model to our children, right, Anissa? And how we deal with things and go about our days, they're naturally going to be learning from us, right? And I think that's what you found through your journey in bringing Creighton along, right? Is he was learning, watching you, and you were demonstrating these things. And it's so important as single moms, for us to really model those things and to model the vulnerability. That's so important, because in life, they're going to have those things that they're going to deal with that the rest of their life, and we're giving them tools now. They're getting a kickstart in life, when they go out there.
Absolutely.
On their own, right? There are things probably you and I wished we knew.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Yeah,
exactly.
So it's so neat, because, and that's what we can give to them. That's our gift to them, is to really show them how to do that. So that's good.
Well, and then again, just going back to our theme tonight, taking our children on the journey, they are watching us, how we go through, and more than our words. They're seeing our steps of faith. They're seeing us fight for peace, to keep our peace. And my son is 14 now, and when I say this is a journey, he will sometimes be like, something hard, or like something that used to really break me down, like I was just in not a good place. he'll be like, oh, wow, Mom, did you see how quickly you bounced back? Or you would have cried, you would have had to go in your room and cried a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
And but it all points to God. Like, that is a work of healing that only he could do. And Creighton is getting to witness that.
That's so neat. And that's what it's all about, right? That's what brings the family restoration and changes the story forever, right? It changes our family stories forever from those things.
Absolutely. It changes our story, it changes our children's story.
Mhm.
And what we're pouring into them, taking them on the journey,
Mhm.
building that firm foundation, it's changing generations.
It is, yeah, yeah. Ooh, gives me goosebumps just thinking about it, right? I love it. So why do you think it's so important for both the mom and children, this whole process of family restoration?
So it is important for us as moms to know how loved we are by our Father and walk in that confidence
Mhm.
and um, walk in that place of wholeness, just restored by Him. So that is the part. But when we walk in that place, it overflows to our children. For our children, why is it important for our children? Well, I guess I will say the greatest gift as moms that we can give our kids is the knowledge of who God is, and that He loves them so much. He never leaves them. He is always with them. And when we take our kids on the journey, we are building their relationship with God. They their faith muscle is strengthened as um, yeah. So I guess I'm going to kind of maybe back up a little bit and just talk about like um, when we take our kids on the journey, why this is important. For when they know the knowledge, when they have the knowledge of God and the love of God, they're unstoppable. To go back to what we talked about at the beginning. Um, but like I said, this is a journey. So when we take them on the journey, they become anchored in who God is. Um, Misty said this all the time, and it is a word that we say all the time. In a situation, make your name known. Make your name known as provider, as father, as defender. And we were going through a really hard time. And like I said, that language Creighton had heard that language a lot. And um, I asked him, I said, what name is God wanting to make known in this season to you? And he said, they're just very personal, Daddy Bird. And just this picture of God covering, his protection, like, I've got you. And he sure enough did that. He sure enough did that in that season. And you asked, why is it important for parent and kids? Also in this hard season, I had a moment of crying out to God. And I said, this is one thing for me to go on this journey. I say yes to you. I'll go on this journey. But why Creighton? And Dawn, that was such a hard season, but we would not change a thing. we would not change a thing. The treasures we received in, in secret places and dark places, and we know God is faithful. And I talked about the holiday encounter, the first one, being peace-filled and inviting God in. So the Lord is so sweet and faithful. But 3 years later, on my birthday, it was called Hope-Filled Encounter. And I could stand on that stage and say, I am anchored in hope. And my son is anchored in hope. Like at the beginning of the year, it was, I hope God comes. We were gripping to everything we got. It was a mustard seed of faith. But Creighton had to go on the journey with me. And there was no hiding. It was all God.
Uh, and we've had the opportunity to watch that grow both in you and in Creighton. It's just been amazing to see that growth in both of you over, at least I've known you for a couple of years now, and I've just seen so much how you both have grown. And I even think about, even for myself, I grew up in a Christian home, and I think that just having that foundation of God and being in his word, I went through a lot of difficult times and I went off track a lot. But the beauty of it is to, even if our children, as they grow and become adults, by laying this foundation, even if they get off track, they'll always come back. And that's what I did.
Amen.
It never failed. I would go down a long path and things would get so dark, but I always found my way back to God because I had that foundation as a child, right, of God. And
absolutely.
And I'll tell you that I'm so thankful for that from my parents, because some days I don't know what I would have done, right, if I hadn't had a foundation. And I think that's so important for us as single moms to give that foundation, because even again as adults they're gonna face tough times and they may go down the wrong road, but they'll always come back to that foundation. I really believe that. And it just
absolutely. And when we share our testimonies with them and point them back to God, they see God's hand instead of like a refrigerator full of food and not knowing where it came from. I have made a point to share with Creighton, somebody blessed us with groceries or just whatever it is. Look at God. Look how faithful he is. So it's just, planting those seeds, taking our kids on the journey. Because although when God does what he does and is faithful, that builds our faith. And so when we take our kids' hands and say, see what God did, they're getting to experience it too.
Wonderful. So as we kind of close out, what are some of your parting thoughts, and as we kind of close out tonight, what are some things you want to leave us with tonight about family restoration?
I guess I would go back to what we started with, that it is amending, and it's a fixing something that is broken, and it's a rebuilding. And so it is a step by step, brick by brick journey. But that every seed that you plant when you take your children on the journey, it produces fruit. It is rooting them. It is creating a firm foundation in them to have a relationship with God. I kind of wanted to share a couple of scriptures, but one that this has been special to me in this restoring and rebuilding process is 1 Peter 5:10. And the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and your family and make you firm and steadfast. God himself, ladies, will restore you and your family and make you firm and steadfast.
Such great verse.
And, you know, when we were talking about this, when you first asked me what family restoration was, a particular moment, kind of a small moment, came back to me. And that was one night we were actually headed out to church. And so Creighton was making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And anyway, he went to go put the peanut butter on the sandwich, and we were out of jelly. But we had jelly packets. Not only jelly packets of one flavor, but 2 flavors. And Creighton looked at that peanut butter and jelly and saw that we lacked nothing. And he saw abundance. So to me, family restoration is Philippians 4:12. That is the scripture that came to mind. I know how to get along and live humbly in difficult times. I also know how to enjoy abundance and live in prosperity. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing life, whether well-fed or going hungry, whether having an abundance or being in need. That moment was so significant because we were abundance. We were rich, whether we had just the peanut butter packets, the jelly packets, like just Creighton saw the Lord's provision in that moment. We took a picture of it and everything. And what that represented was so much bigger. It was the work, the rebuilding that only God could do. It was our mindset had shifted, our heart had been changed to a place of abundance, regardless, because it's not based on circumstance. It's a heart thing.
Wow. Thank you, Anissa. Wow, I just, what just some amazing testimony, and I just appreciate the tools that you shared with the single moms tonight. And ladies, we are not doing small groups right now because of COVID, but if you're interested in getting together, Anissa has volunteered to set up a time to get together. She'd love to have a group of people. She's willing to kind of talk about things, answer questions. So if you're interested in joining and talking more about this, you can email me at dawn@thesinglemomkc.org and just let me know, and we'll set that time up. And we'll also put it in the chat so that you have my email address. So I encourage you to definitely be bold, reach out, meet with Anissa.
Yes, please.
Love that. Yeah. Awesome. So much wisdom to share with you all. She definitely understands where you are right now as you are on your journey as a single mom and bringing healing and family restoration to your life. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Again, thank you, Anissa. I was so glad.
Thank you.
And God bless. Have a wonderful week. Bye.
Bye.